So you're in Cleveland, Ohio. We always just jump right into this thing, man, and get to talking about your life and your life story. But one of the things I want to talk about in the beginning is your father. You know, I know that there's a story that he has, and it's a story that you could tell if you could tell some of it.
This is the house in Washington, D.C., in which 7 members of a Muslim group were murdered yesterday. The dead included 2 men and 5 children. Some were shot to death and some were drowned. Washington police today are looking for 8 black men they say may have carried out a systematic execution.
7 persons had been killed in the early evening. 2 adults and a child shot, 4 children drowned in a bathtub. 2 other adults, both women shot in the head, survived. All but one had been living here in the headquarters of a Muslim sect purchased for the group by basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
On March 9, 1977, a dozen members of the Hanafi Muslim sect invaded 3 D.C. buildings, the seat of city government, the Islamic Center, and the headquarters of B'nai B'rith.
I knew I'd been shot.
They wounded then-Councilman Marion Barry, killed a young reporter Maurice Williams, and threatened to kill more than 100 hostages.
And I came out of nowhere, and say, hit the floor, put a gun in my face.
If the demands aren't met, the heads will be chopped off and they'll be thrown out the window.
These were the demands.
But once the film is removed from this country, once you are asking that those responsible for the deaths or who killed your children be brought to the B'nai B'rith building.
And the ones that killed Malcolm.
And the ones that killed Malcolm.
That's right. I want them.
And you're asking for the $750.
I want them. And the $750. And be sure you make on the radio that I've turned down millions of dollars, so it's not the $750, but this dog-ass Judge Braben. He hold me in contempt of court because I charged the murderers that murder my babies. Now, what do you think about that? And you think I'm going to roll over and play dead? What do you think I am? Some kind of jokester? I take my face serious.
At 37, Robinson is a 12-year veteran of the news business. A college dropout, an Air Force man who went home to Virginia and started pounding on newsroom doors. Unsuccessfully, until things started opening up for blacks in Washington. As a TV reporter around town, he had covered some big local stories, some other Muslim stories. His professional judgment, he says, had never been so critically tested.
When I had one have to sell that, you think I went through all that as a joke, Max? Do you?
I understand.
All right, then. Little toughness.
Listen, stop feeling sorry for you. Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
The mental toughness mindset.
I had to go to grow.
Damn safe. Covers up. The big happen. The big happen.
Martin Luther King.
You got challenges that you're going to run across.
Okay, so welcome to another episode of Elite Psyche. Today, as you can tell, I'm in a different office, actually having some internet challenges at my office. So I asked Mr. Brian Joubert if we can use the R&B Solution Center today, and he actually honored my wishes. And so I'm here today at the R&B Solution Center. Mr. Joubert is L&B Tax Services. You've seen an interview that we did actually about a month ago. So we posted that interview. But again, I want to thank Brian for allowing me to use the facility today. And I'm gonna tell you, man, he got a nice facility here. He has a lot of different rooms, office space, podcast rooms. He has a lot of. I'm gonna take some photos and put them up so you guys can really see what Brian is doing here, man. He's doing some big time stuff here in Atlanta. actually right out in the Smyrna area where we are. And again, I want to thank him for allowing me to use the studio today so that we can do this great interview. Also, he got a little refrigerator in there, so I want to grab some of his root beer. So Brian, if you see one can missing, you know I got it. So, but on Elite Psyche, man, what we do is we interview people who had success in life, at least success in my eyesight. And I believe that most people who've been through challenges, well, most people who have success have to go through certain challenges. I mean, you have to be mentally tough to win because you have this up and down roller coaster ride once you start a business or you have any kind of success. And we believe that the people who sustain and continue are the ones that we really want to talk to. We're going to find out a little bit more about what they do and why they do it and how did they do it. And so that's what we do here with Elite Psyche, the Mental Toughness Show. We are the Mental Toughness Really Big Show. And also today I got my partner, Mr. Lewis Fields. Let's bring up Lou. I know he's in the background right there. He's gonna, there he is right there with his.
How you doing? How you doing?
He got his fresh cut fade there, I see. So
the school haircut.
Straight out the barber shop, I got you. And Lewis today, you know, he actually is the one who recommended our guest today, Miss Dana AC. She's a bail bonds woman and also a life insurance agent. She's up in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And so we want to kind of talk to her today, interview her and find out more about her life story and success that she's had. Because Lewis has, you know, met with her and talked with her and he was thoroughly impressed. So he said, man, let's see if we could do an interview with her. And I said, great, let's do it. So without further ado, we're going to bring up Miss Dana AC. Are you there?
Yes.
All right, good to see you. Good to see you. You look very nice today.
Thank you.
All right. So, all right. So you're in Cleveland, Ohio. We always just jump right into this thing, man, and get to talking about your life and your life story. But one of the things I want to talk about in the beginning is your father. You know, I know that there's a story that he has, and it's a story that you could tell if you could tell some of it. You know what I'm saying? I like to hear some of it and tell us who your father is.
So first I want to say thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. You know, it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to tell your story, you know, because for so many years I kept it bottled up inside. And, you know, it's a good time for us to just start getting it out because we can help a lot of people if we just let them know what our story is about.
What I would be interested in is how did the adversity of that, going through that as a child and coming to understand that's what happened, how did that prepare you to overcome other challenges in your life?
So my father, he died in federal prison. And, you know, it wasn't
when?
This was back in, was it 2012? Something like that, 2012. He died in federal prison. So I might be off a little bit, but it was back in 2012. It was kind of unexpected. I think, you know, he actually was a person that was very instrumental in my life. When he met my mom, he had a lot of ideas on where the Black community, you know, could go, and he wanted to be around like-minded people. So he moved us to Washington, D.C., where the basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had bought a mansion and turned it over to the Islamic community, and it was called the Islamic Center. And that was like mind-blowing because when you have that type of money, that type of celebrity status, they can get the best teachers, the best philosophers. Everything was top-notch in this place. It was a huge, huge complex. And all the children, we started learning from day one on what to do. And everything was always centered around loving your people and loving your community. Be there for your community.
You a Negro, Travis?
No.
Are you a flunky, Travis?
No.
What are you?
I am black and beautiful.
And what else are you? Are you a boy?
No.
What are you?
I'm a man.
What kind of man?
Black and beautiful man.
Or what kind? Are you an old man or a young man?
Young man.
Very good. Very good. Are you going to let somebody just make you a boy?
No.
All right. Suppose I tell you something wrong, Travis. Are you going to do it?
Yes.
You're going to do something if I tell you when it's wrong?
No.
Have a seat, young man.
So my father was like, that's like paradise for him. And that's what he always taught me. But he was also a stern man too. So, you know, he was very disciplined on, like, we had a strict regimen. We got up first thing in the morning. First thing we did was say our prayers. You know, anyone that knows, like, that's so important to have your mindset right. You start your day with your mind right, period. And so that really, really helped strengthen me. I'll say back in those days, like, you know, we're talking like back in the 70s. So I'm giving out my age a little bit. You know, race relations weren't that great. So if you were they had this idea that they were going to be like separate but equal. We're doing our thing as Black people over here. You guys are doing your thing over there. We don't want our children in the public school. We're going to teach our children. We got big money backing us. We know what we're doing. We've got the best teachers. We're going to teach our own children. And it was wonderful.
Suppose I had some money in my pocket. Suppose I gave you $1 to say that you're an American Negro. This is money now. Money talks. Money talks. This $1, and if you don't say it, you don't get it. You're an American Negro, aren't you?
No.
You won't have any money. You know you need money, don't you?
Yeah.
You need money to live, don't you?
Yes.
All right. All you have to say, Leon, is that you're an American Negro. Aren't you an American Negro? Are you an American Negro?
No.
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What's your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Very good, man. Keep it up. Go sit down.
It was, we had a great working relationship where everyone must work together for the greater good of the whole. So it doesn't even matter if you were a kid. Everybody had to come to the table with something. You know, everybody. It didn't matter if you were a 2-year-old. You better draw some pictures, color some flowers, but you had to do something. There was no lazy people, period. So that really, you know, like when you give a child those kind of building blocks from day one, that's what makes them a resilient person later on in life. They might not realize it. They're thinking, oh, we're just coloring pictures, you know, but you're teaching them those building blocks they need to be stronger later. And that was the advantage that I had, to be around people like that just knew what it took. And they didn't just talk about it. They were, you know, putting in the work. They were about that action.
All right, everybody. What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Good. All right. What I did is what people are going to do to you in different ways when you get out of the school. They're not going to just come right up to you and give you $1, or say, if you say that you're an if you say you're an American Negro, I'll give you $1. But they're going to be very nice to you, some of them, and they're going to try to, you know, get you not to love Black people. They're going to try to get you to, you know, be something other than you are. They're going to try to make it seem as though you're different from the masses of Black people. And they want you to go away. Now, I'll tell you, I'll give you special things if you just come along with me and do what I say. But you must reject that. Now, you know what that means? That means you're not going to have the money you'd like to have. And money is not important. We need money. We have to buy things with it. But money is not the thing that we're living for. The only thing that makes a person worth living is being a man and being a woman. Being strong in character, being straight, telling the truth, and living in the truth and doing the right thing. You understand that? So no matter what happens, I want you all to always tell the what?
Okay.
So when you're living that every day, that's what that shaped my life. I mean, they were teaching us math like at 4 and 5. 4 and 5. We were doing like multiplication. They were on it. These are black people, really serious about the future of their children. And that's what we need today. We need to go back to those fundamentals today. Like, don't wait. Get started as soon as they can walk and talk and say sentences. The time is now. So I really, really, truly love that about my dad, because and then my mom followed his lead on that. Unfortunately, some things went left and he was taken away from me really early. He went to prison, but it wasn't a regular day like how the people here in Cleveland, you catch a case, you go through the court system, maybe you get probation, maybe you get 6 months. No, this was world news. This was worldwide news when my father went to jail. We had, I guess you can call them like government officials, with badges. They wanted to know what we were doing, and they started watching us, recording us. It was a different time. Rights for Blacks were very different back then. So we really felt like we were being harassed. We're just like, hey, look, we're just trying to mind our own business over here. But because we're thriving and flourishing without government interference, now they're looking at us with suspicious eyes. Like, what is this group? What is this faction doing over here? They're looking at like, these are Muslims. Remember, we went through the Malcolm X era. They're looking at us like, you got this faction of Muslims over here. What do they have in those homes? Why are they all congregating together?
You know damn well I can't make a comment, or why you be some jackass? You know damn well what went down.
So they actually breached our home and came into our home and started looking around, and they took all the weapons out of our homes and everything. And they did it in a way that was very distasteful. It was a show of strength. It was bullying, actually, because the men weren't there to protect their women and children. And that caused a firestorm.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I don't talk about this publicly because everyone, they're worried about your safety.
Right.
Saying what you can't say. But, it was world news that got hushed up. And so I believe it was 13 of them, and I'll have to send you the article. 13 of them got together and they said, you know what? There's no worse disrespect than breaking into a man's home with weapons in front of their women and children. We don't care. We're going to retaliate. And they did it in a very organized way. They didn't tell us. And they went downtown.
The Hanafi takeover, the first act of terror in the city of Washington. March 9th, 1977. Gunmen invade the B'nai B'rith headquarters.
And I heard Khalis tell us, whoever we prayed to, we better pray to, because we're going to be dying today. He threatened to behead all of us. He threatened to kill us. And he told us that we were responsible for all the ills of the world.
Then the district building.
It happened so fast. The shots rang out down the hallway, glass shattering everywhere, people ducking in the council chambers.
Then the Islamic Center.
We understand that demands have been relayed to the police.
The city of Washington comes to a standstill.
And they they shut down buildings, held the buildings hostage. So it was looked at as a terrorist act. So it was looked at it that way. And they're saying, look, we want the news on us. We want to be heard. We want America to know that this is what's going on and this is how they're treating us. And it won't be tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that wasn't the way to go about it, but that is what they did. And they, because it's our nation's capital, it made world news.
Who was the mayor at that time?
Walter E. Washington became the first elected mayor of D.C. As Mayor Uncle Walter, as he was known, was beloved by his constituents, but it's been said he was hamstrung in running the city due to a combination of state and city government regulations. Still, though, he had some major accomplishments, including establishing D.C.'s Office of Latino Affairs. He would leave office in the election of '79, losing to Councilmember Marion Barry, and the rest is history.
This is the 70s.
Yes, it was called the 1977 Siege of Washington, D.C. That's what it was named. And I did actually look it up on, I tried to find some of the snippets on YouTube. They have scrubbed some of it down. There used to be more information on it maybe like 5 years ago. But in the last couple of years, I've noticed there was less information on it out there. But you can still see, like, I do have the transcripts from where they were discussing it, like an article in the New York Times. So you can find some of the articles still, because they did like a hostage negotiation where some people from like Egypt, had called. They were calling, like other Muslims from other countries was calling, like, look, this is not a good look. This is not, this is not, when you're angry, this is not how you go about it. Like you're making us all look bad. So they ended up surrendering. One person did get shot.
No more than an hour later, leaving the restaurant, Kojo saw the commotion at the building and raced back to WHUR, where the phone was already ringing. Another reporter gave him the news.
People have taken over the 5th floor of the district building. There's been shooting, and I saw Maurice lying in the hallway outside the press room. He said he's lying there and there are bullet holes in his sweater, but he's not moving.
Maurice Williams had just stepped out of the elevator with Marion Barry when he was shot.
It was one of the worst days of our lives.
The Hanafi Muslims seized 3 buildings that day and took more than 140 hostages. Their leader, Hamas Abdul Khalid, wanted to bring attention to the murder of his family back in 1973.
It took appeals for compassion from 3 Islamic ambassadors to finally convince the terrorists to surrender.
In the end, one person said it was like New Year's Eve. Church bells ringing.
You have to wonder whether they would have the ability to come in and negotiate the 3 Islamic ambassadors primarily for Jewish lives during the times we live in today.
You okay? Yes, indeed. Now I am.
Was your father like the leader, or he was a part of the group?
He was a part of the group. He was a part of the men. They were just ready to give their lives. They felt like they were giving up their lives. They were going to sacrifice their freedom. They weren't imagining they were going to die, of course, but they said, if I have to sacrifice my freedom so that my child can live peacefully, I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to do that. And that's what they were thinking in their minds. And they didn't think like, I'm going to further separate myself from my home and leave, my women and children unprotected. Right. They just went straight for, like, hey, we're going to plan this out, retaliate, and it'll be so much, attention put on this. They can't help but to hear us. Now, I would have, once I've gotten older, I realized, like, I would have preferred for things to be different, because I can imagine a man, if 13 men can shut down a whole downtown, you know what I'm saying? These were some powerful men. Right. Mentally. So imagine if they use that strength in a different way in our communities, they could have truly, transformed, today's world. They really could. Like, that's the power of the mind, where they can really just like put it together like that and shut down everything, and everyone in the world is watching.
Now, you said one person died, and then the rest, were they all arrested? Did everybody get locked up?
Everybody got locked up. They gave them like 40 something to life. They kept it really hushed up. They never, it never came out that they breached our homes, because it was just like these men are just crazy. They just coming downtown with guns just to be coming downtown. They never, there was one reporter that was pretty much daring people to look more into the story. It was, I saw it on YouTube where he said, I wonder what would make these men do something like that. Maybe you should ask yourself that.
In terms of understanding what you're covering, in terms of the sensitivity of what you're covering, you're talking about emotional sensitivity. It's a little different from sensitivity for facts. You can get the facts. All of us get the facts. That's a very important part of the business. In my struggle to be a good journalist, I have no fear of having that kind of sensitivity. But I recognize that the danger is that you can go overboard and become a participant, become an advocate. I think the only reason that I have been called a participant, or that I was involved or in the middle, as has been said, many expressions have been used, was simply because I got it first and I got an understanding of it. That's all.
So you know how when they talk in code, he was trying to let you know, like, maybe they weren't so off.
Right.
These were people that were taking care of their families, not bothering anyone, no records.
Right.
What would make people that never been in trouble before ever, just all of a sudden say we're going to take weapons and take over the whole the Capitol downtown?
Right.
In 1973, some gunmen came to the Hanafi house and turned it into a slaughterhouse. 7 members of Khalif's family were killed here.
We're dealing with brutal murders. A baby 9 days old. Most people are afraid to hold a baby that young. But here you got somebody that took that baby in their arms and drowned it. Khalifa Hamas Abdul Khalis lost his 9-day-old to 22 months and his daughters. 6 times shot in the head. These is fiends, man.
He had 6 or 7 of his children murdered in a house on 16th Street.
But, so everything didn't really come out, but because it looked like such a terrorist act, it had to be, it had to be hushed up and disposed of. And, it's a lot of people did not want to talk about it. And it was tough. It was tough to go through it. I think it was tough on my mother mentally because she's a more private, subdued woman.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that many eyes on you and, have that many labels on you, like what kind of people are you to do something like this? Like how unpatriotic, these type of things, to live through that is really devastating for a family, for many families, to experience something like that. Because the person that you love the most is being, vilified.
Mm-hmm.
It's this amazing villain, and all he wanted to do, I didn't really realize it at the time. But I was just like, I felt like really ashamed of myself because, I didn't know how.
But how old were you then?
I was, oh, come on, man.
You don't tell the age. Okay, I got you. Okay, let me ask you this question then. So how long were you all in DC and when did you all move back to Cleveland? How long was that?
Yeah, so it was about 4 years later. My mom couldn't take it anymore. She was just like, we stayed there as long as we could. And then she called my grandparents, her mother and father, and just said, you know what, I'm ready to come back home. I need support. She was just like mentally exhausted. And they wouldn't even talk to me about it. I kept trying to talk to my mother, but she felt like these are complex issues that you really shouldn't talk about with a child. Right. And I'm going to tell you, that's where we make our mistake as parents, because I was there too. Mm-hmm. These children are not dumb.
Right. You saw everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, all right. So once you get back to Cleveland and your father is still incarcerated, how long was it before after you got back that, he passed away?
Oh, we're talking this is over a decade later. He was in jail quite a long time. So
Now,
I'll say
was his death a conspiracy or
no,
you
no.
all?
I was told a heart attack.
Okay, okay.
I was told a heart attack. So but I'll tell you what was shameful is I was so frustrated with them not talking to me. I didn't really understand like the rules of jail and what you can say and what you couldn't say. I wasn't familiar with these lines are being recorded. The phone lines are recorded. That's why I said we should talk to our children, because I am so angry with my parents. And I'm looking at one that's in jail, not talking to me, not explaining to me what's going on. And then I'm looking at my mother, the person that's sitting next to me, and it's like they have this vow between each
Right.
other not to discuss nothing. And I'm just like,
And at that time, it wasn't any internet or social media or YouTube, so where you can
yeah,
go do your own research. You only had to hear from them, or
right.
whatever might be in the paper. But like you said, they covered up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think out of fear. But you know how the best armor that we have is information. And that's where we keep dropping the ball at, I think, with our youth. That was my armor. That was my shield. To properly inform me so that I know what's going on, so I don't repeat it, or what I'm saying, or I know how to move out here.
Right. So are you the only child?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. You're one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an only child.
Okay.
I'm strong-willed, not spoiled. Not spoiled, because I'm a hard worker.
Okay, all right. So so now you're back in Cleveland. And what part of Cleveland were you in?
The Kinsman area, so the east side.
Okay.
When we came back, that's the area that we came from. Totally different environment. So, because remember, I was kind of like living in a bubble. I'm going to school in a mansion. We're living in big houses. Like Black people were doing very well. They understood economics. So they, so if you needed your plumbing done, they got a plumber from within their community and paid him. They kept that dollar circulating within the community. So they knew all of this when I was a kid. So when you're like I said, these are people that got, they got access to the best. These are celebrities coming together, making a school for our people. So they put the best in that school. And this is what I'm learning. So when you go from that and then you get dropped off in the hood,
it's a culture shock.
Yeah, it was really definitely culture shock, because the kids are asking me questions like, why are you talking so proper? Like, why are you using these big words? And I didn't even know what they were talking about. I was like, what words? Like, don't everyone talk like this? You know?
So, all right. So you moved from the east side back, you said, to the west side, right? Or something like that. Again, did y'all move or you stayed on the east side through high school?
All through high school, I stayed on the east side. I finally, and a lot of, into my 20s, I stayed on the east side. And then now I'm on the west side of Cleveland, so I had, I moved, I found a home that gave me everything I needed for the dollar.
Okay. All right. So once you graduated, you said that you didn't further your education. You just once you graduated from high school, did you? What was your next move once you graduated?
Well, when I graduated from high school, I actually had got a job right away, because I was never not working. I was always doing something, that's what we were taught. Like, you had to constantly be in motion. So no one was going to give you anything. Like, we're from the hood. Nobody's just giving you, the stuff that you want. Like, if you want a shirt, you got to get out here and work and buy your own shirt.
Right.
So I went straight to work. I went to work at the post office. My friend's family member had got us in there, and then I took the test and they hired me full time. So I was making more money than I ever seen in my life working there.
Right.
And I felt really good because it's like 2,000 people in this building and they're mostly Black. So I felt like, oh man, this is great.
Right.
I was like the youngest person in the building, so I was fresh out of high school. So I thought that was an amazing experience. Working at the post office gave me a lot of opportunities that a lot of people didn't have. So I was really blessed. I was really blessed. I bought my first house when I was 22 years old. I bought a two-family. I bought rental property, which wasn't easy because nobody wanted to talk to you. Like, when you're growing up in the hood, no one talks to you about what a smart purchase is. They don't talk to you about that. I just used to pay attention well. Like I said, when you have those building blocks and your mind is conditioned right, you pay attention to your surroundings a lot better. So I just kind of learned the flow. Like, wow, all of us are living in these two-family houses. We paying a landlord. I was like, you know what? I want to be the landlord. I'm gonna buy my own two-family house, and I'm gonna have one unit pay for the whole house. I started noticing that. I was paying attention.
Okay.
And so it's just like I started asking family members. They had no clue what to tell me.
Yeah. We wouldn't talk any of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was just go to work.
But one thing about when you're in the hood that I'll say was a little bit discouraging was they'll tell you can't do it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, why not? If we could pay rent, then why can't we own the house?
Right. We talk about that a lot with our mental toughness calls and our mindset calls. That a lot of that comes from, and you talk about the zip code that you grew up in, and certain zip codes in the hood, the people that are there, they haven't had any training on that kind of information. So guess what? What they give us is what they give us. It's not like they don't have anything else to talk about. And so as we grow older, a lot of times, that's that stuff that we heard as a teenager or early childhood is still there, but it's not anything that's business-like. It's not anything. It's almost like you shouldn't be even trying to do this. You shouldn't even be trying to do that. You should just go to work hard, 40 years for somebody, come home, save your money. And that's typically what you hear in a lot of our neighborhoods growing up. And so we don't have that. And it's amazing that you, just from looking around and seeing that, you decided that, man, I need to, be a landlord. I need to have me some property too. I need to have me something that I can live in on one side and have the other person take care of everything. So
then I got a question. When you was talking about, you asked your elders what they thought about it and they didn't know. So how did you go about starting to find mentors or information? How did you start finding good information to find out what's a good purchase versus a bad purchase?
Okay, so I'll tell you this. I really, honestly, my whole life, I have not had any mentors. It's the one thing that I have been looking for, but it just has not come to pass. I literally have been doing everything by just sheer determination and grit. It's like I kept asking people. So it's like, okay, nobody wanted to talk to you about two-family houses, but I knew that there were some people that had single-family houses. So I asked them, what did you do to get into your single-family house? And they told me, oh, you had to have a down payment, and then you had to have good credit. Well, I learned about good credit because I bought a car.
Right.
So I was just like, okay, so I have an idea what credit is, like you pay your bills, then they consider you to be good because
Right.
you paid your bills on time. And then down payment, I said, okay, I didn't know what that looked like, but I figured, well, I probably need to save a few $1,000s. Now I'm working at the post office, I'm making good money. So it wasn't hard to really save a few $1,000s. Because you're a kid, I mean, what did you really want? You wanted your car, a couple of, clothes, a couple of nice pairs of shoes, everything else, you just, you went partying with your friends a little bit. There wasn't a whole lot you could do with the money. So it was just like, okay, I'll save it because I have this idea in my mind that I'm going to be a homeowner. So I started doing that. And then, my aunt told me, well, I don't know what to tell you. Why don't you call a realtor? There's a realtor around the corner. Okay. So I called them. I think the people, they were looking at me like, are you for real? I said, yes, I'm serious. But they didn't know I was serious till I actually told them I had money in the bank and showed them. They were like, no, let me see.
Okay.
Because you already know, they talk about the show me state, but here in Cleveland, it's hard. They don't believe. They're like, no, let me see the numbers. Let me see. So I had to show this lady that I actually had some money saved. And then that was the only way she would meet with me. Like, no, show me the money. Then we can talk about your little young self wanting to buy a house.
So, but back to the question, how long were you at the post office? And go ahead.
I was at the post office, was it 12 years? I wanted to leave sooner than that, but I needed to make sure that I had my, everything lined up because I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted my own business. And everyone kept telling me, like, that makes no sense. You have this good government job. You're supposed to stick it through to retirement and stay with that. But I just had this vision that there's more out here for me, And I will tell you this, if you're really, really determined, your dreams can happen because I was able to start bail bonds. I did that and worked at the post office. I did them both for a year. And I saved up, some money, like rainy day money in case something went wrong before I quit. So I didn't just up and quit with no plan. But so I saved up a little money in case things went wrong. And I actually, there's a lot of power in conversation and getting information. And I had a talk with the post office and I said, look here, if I leap out there and things go wrong for me, can I come back? And they actually gave me the blueprint on how I can get my job back if things, fall short for me because they really liked me. They thought I was a really good worker. I did what I was supposed to do. I met their quotas and their high numbers. And so they opened up and told me what I could do to get my job back. So that gave me a lot of relief because so many people from my neighborhood, they told me I was crazy. They're like, you're crazy. No one quits their government job to go pursue a career as a business owner. Mm-hmm. So, when I quit, life really transformed for me. I really was determined to make it. I did not want to go back. My, I'm a mom. My daughter was really young. So that's another reason why people said, I was crazy. Like, you're a new mom who quits their job with a baby.
Right.
So
now tell us, what made you become, get into that profession of bail bondsman? What did you bail somebody out and you say, wait a minute, how did you go about doing that?
In need of a bail bonding agency? Look no further than Dana Bail Bonds, your trusted partner in times of need. Dana services all jails in all counties in Ohio. With nearly 20 years of experience, we're here to help you or your loved ones when the unexpected happens. Available 24/7, providing fast and reliable bail bond services. Don't let legal troubles keep you apart. Call Dana Bail Bonds today. We're here for you when it matters most.
Well, I'm naturally a very optimistic person. I just believe I could do anything. I was doing anything. I was selling anything you could sell in my neighborhood. It could be pens, pencils, water. I was selling everything. I always had some type of like, they call it a side hustle. I always had some kind of side hustle. And I had this guy approach me, so you couldn't just sign up to be a bail bondsman. You had to be chosen, like someone noticed you. So this guy noticed me and he said, you know what? You work well with the public. I see you selling everything out here. He said, I want to give you this job, an opportunity where you could be self-employed and all these little side hustles you're doing, you can give that up and just do this. I thought it was crazy. I was like, I don't even know how to get to the Justice Center. Like, I was just like, criminal justice system. That was not what I imagined, but I wanted out of the post office so bad that I really actually, had a moment, like sometimes we could turn down a good thing just by overthinking it. And I was so glad I had that moment where I thought twice, like, well, you know what? Because I turned him down at first. And he came back to me again. He said, how about I pay for your classes? I really believe, he said, I don't know what it is about you, but whatever it is, you got it. And I believe you'll do good. And how about I pay for your classes and help you get started? Will you consider me then? And that's when he had my attention. I'm like, what do I have to lose if this guy's going to pay for my school? So I took the class and I didn't have any marketing material. I just used the same concept that I did when I was selling all my little trinkets. And I just called up everybody I knew and said, hey, so now the next thing I'm selling is bonds. If you know someone needs to get out of jail, let me know. That was marketing. That was marketing 101. Marketing 101. When you're first getting started in sales, you don't have any money. I didn't have any money for flyers, commercials, anything. You use what you had. And that was, we all had phones. Just call everybody and let them know, hey, I do this. And the guy was like, he laughed at me, because all of them had advertising budgets. They were in the, community circular and all that. And he said, Dana, nobody will probably do any business with you for the next 6 months. So you just use this time to learn. And he's talking to me about now this is the guy that offered me the position to be a bondsman. And he's talking to me in this discouraging way about, oh, you won't get business for the rest of this year, but it's okay. I'm still going to teach you. And then while he's talking, my phone rang. I was like, it was my first client. I literally had took the class. I had just passed my test 2 hours before I got that call. And a person called me, said, hey, look, I need you to come get me out of jail. And I was so green, I didn't even know how to charge the people money. I didn't even know what to charge.
Right. So tell us, how did you shift? When you started and you just walked away from the post office, you never went back.
Never went back.
And I heard you say you was ready to go, but I also heard you say they paid well. Why were you so ready to go? Because you wanted your own business, or what was it?
Yes, I wanted, I guess I'm the rebel out there. I don't want to conform to what looks normal. To me, that's like the mundane, just regular. There's no excitement. And I just felt like there's got to be more. I want to live life the way I want to live it. I don't want these restrictions where I have to be here at 9, from 9 to 9. Now, mind you, the post office was constant overtime. You really had no life. You had to always be there, always. And I kept looking, I just had my daughters like, wow, I have to be here so much. I can't even raise my child. I have to be at work all day, and it was just like, I just thought like there had to be a better way for a person to enjoy life. And that was a big deal for me, being able to see my child. I wanted to be instrumental in raising my own child. I didn't want to have daycare, nanny, grandma, aunts, uncles, everybody supporting me. That's great. But in the meantime, you're not even raising your own child, so it's just like, when what's the price of that?
Mm-hmm.
So if someone offered you a ton of money, but you could never see the child that you gave birth to, is it really worth it?
Right.
So that's how I looked at it. It was like, I was more motivated by, I wanted a better quality of life. I wanted a life where I could actually, I saw what was going on around me, and I wanted a chance to actually raise my daughter, because I did not want certain things that I was seeing growing up. I didn't want her to see that as well. And I felt like the best teacher would be me. But I can't teach my child if I'm never home. I'm always at work.
What was your first eye opener as a bail bonds person? Like, what was your first shocker to find out, I didn't know that it works this way, or I didn't know that a person can get out on bond because of this? What was your first, thing that kind of made you say, wow, does the American public know this?
You know what? My first shocker was the lack of information. There's so many people going to jail and nobody actually even knows the process. They don't even know what they're experiencing. It's like they're just there, and I was kind of shocked at that, because I'm good at getting into systems and then seeing how to run it more efficiently. So I started seeing that there was like between the lawyers, there's this unspoken code where it's like, I'm not going to tell you all the details. The game is to be sold, not told. You're going to have to pay me and I'm going to work for you. Don't worry about the details. Just, you pay me, I'll work it out, And these families were just in the dark. They didn't understand what they were seeing. They didn't know what pre-trial meant, or a trial, final trial, sentencing. They're sitting there going to court and don't even know what they're seeing. I thought that was, shocking to me. But another thing that was shocking is I learned what kind of power I possessed, because I was considered an officer of the court. So I could advocate for people. So behind the scenes, I was able to go and talk to a judge or talk to a commissioner and actually get people's bonds lowered so that they can come home. Like, some of these prices, they're $50,000. And it's just like, well, what did the guy get caught with? So I was able to go behind the scenes quietly and talk to someone and say, look, these are the details. This is something that if they were to go to their lawyer, the lawyer would want thousands of dollars. So I started doing that for free, because I was just tired of seeing my people like in despair. I was tired of seeing them in despair. So I started doing bond reductions, and I didn't even realize I had that type of power. And they felt like I was well-spoken. I was aggressive, for my people. And they were taking all my calls, all the bond commissioners, and they were like, well, I remember one time I had him on speakerphone and he said, well, Dana, what would you like the bond to be? And I was just like,
wow, $2.
So I didn't even realize I had that kind of power in the criminal justice system until, I'm just advocating for my people. And they were actually listening. They were actually listening. So I'm coming with straight facts. Like, this is where this guy works. Do you want proof? This is what this guy does. I can bring that paperwork in. This is stuff that the attorneys were not doing. But I was doing it because, for one, most of the people that are in those jails look like me. And this is what I was taught to do. Like I said, those building blocks, that foundation that my dad gave me, like, I'm at home in my warm home. But, there's another family, my neighbor, they're in despair right now. So do I go back to my warm house and act like I don't see it?
Wow.
No.
So I've got a question. Like, what's one of your success stories? Like, you ain't got to say their name, but one of the situations where it worked out real well that you like, this is why I do it.
Man. There is someone I got to get back in touch with her that just called me recently, because there's a lot of success stories behind the scenes where I have a lot of people calling me, thanking me. But this girl called me, it's almost a decade later. And sometimes we don't know how we impact another person's life. This was her first time getting in trouble. She got caught up with the wrong guy. She thought she was in love, and she ended up catching a case, and she ended up being, pregnant. And I took the time out with this girl to actually just talk to her, make sure she was okay. And then after her case was over, I gave her a gift. I don't know what made me do that. I don't know what I didn't think I would ever see her again. I just thought I just wanted her to smile. I wanted her to smile. I wanted her to know that, there's people out here that know that you're gonna be all right. You're gonna make it. And I just wanted to make her day. And she called me recently to say, I wanted you to know, it's been almost 10 years, but I wanted you to know that now I'm advocating for people. That conversation you gave me, I never forgot it. And now I'm opening up a center,
Wow.
for women. And I was just like, what? So I got to reach out to her, and that really touched me. I was really in tears. I was really in tears because you just don't know how you impact a person's life. That's why we shouldn't turn our back on people, because sometimes it's a kind word, a kind gesture, can go a long way. Can you imagine this?
Right.
We had nothing in common. Nothing, except for we were just women that just wanted to take care of our families. Matter of fact, she was pregnant. She didn't have her kid yet. So
speaking of a kind gesture, tell us, for anybody who's listening, if they want to get into your business, give them 3 or 4 pointers on how they can start being a bail person, bail bondsman. How would they do it? And, give them some, some things that they need to look out for, once they get started. And what, is it tough to get started, or do you have some insight now that can help them that you didn't have before?
Yeah. So, I'm the owner of the company.
Okay.
And also I can give out the contracts for other people that want their own company. So I've raised through the ranks through the years. But
wait a minute, that's for Ohio though, not anywhere.
Yeah, I'm a franchise. I can be in other states.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I can be in other states. So I'm a franchise now.
So what does a person need to be a part of your franchise?
So first, you need to get licensed. So you have to get licensed in the state that you want to do business with. So we're in Ohio. It's a state license. You have to take the class. You have to, pass the test. You have to pass the background check, fingerprints. Everything goes through Columbus, through Ohio Department of Insurance. So, I help people walk through that. And then also,
But is Ohio, is every state pretty much the same? Is Ohio more difficult? Or is like if somebody in Georgia listening and they want to be a bail bondsman?
It's pretty much the same. It's like there's a flat, a flat set of rules that is, I'm not quite sure what the the rules are for Atlanta, but it's pretty much set in stone as far as you got to get licensed to do, if you want to do anything, because this is governed by insurance. So that's what most people don't know is bail bonds is really just another form of insurance.
Seeking affordable life insurance from a company that puts their clients first? Look no further than Dana Bail Bonds and Insurance Services. At Dana Bail Bonds and Insurance Services, we comprehend the challenges life throws your way. With us, you're never alone. Safeguard your loved one's future, ensuring financial security. Choose Dana Bail Bonds and Insurance Services for all your life insurance needs. For more details, give us a call or visit our website.
So just like you have your auto insurance, your home insurance, where you're insuring a car or a home. With bail bonds, you're insuring a court appearance. So, it's a policy is what you're buying. So you have to get your credentials from your State Department. So whoever is over the insurance department in Atlanta or any state, that is who governs your license. So
Okay, so can anybody become a bail bondsman? Is it a qualification? You know?
In a lot of states, you can't have any felonies. In Ohio, you can have a felony, but they do pick. They send you through a test. They want to know things about you, so you have to disclose that. You have to say what it was, and then they'll let you know if they approve you or if they don't. So
what about money out of pocket? What does it cost for a person to do that? And I mean, I want you to tell your business, but how does a bail bondsman really earn their money? How do they make their money?
Okay, so remember we said it's a policy that they're buying. So basically, as a bondsman, you have power of attorney over the insurance company's money. So you're like you're using a check from the insurance company to bail a person out. So you aren't really taking the money out of your pocket. You have the authority to use the insurance company's money. Now if things go wrong, that's when you're responsible for that money. So you write a $10,000 check, you better make sure that you have, money to cover that. And that's why you hear about bounty hunters, or the legal term is fugitive recovery agents. But
tell me what are those?
So fugitive recovery agents is the legal term here in Ohio. They don't like to say bounty hunter. They feel like that's an outdated term. So, it sounds, it sounds like the Wild Wild West or something. But basically, you do have people that miss their court date. And when you miss your court date, you can cost the company a lot of money. The example I used was $10,000. So if a person posts bond is they pledged a $10,000 bond, they paid the premium. So usually the premium is 10%. That's usually what it is in every state. Some states are a little different, but typically you got to pay 10% to hire a bondsman to go out and post this $10,000 bond for you. So that's $1,000. So if you don't go to court, the judge is like, well, wait a minute. Your company is out $10,000, or you need to go find that guy or girl and bring them in front of me. So now you have to, if you're the owner, like I'm the owner, I'm not really getting suited up and going out there. So I have,
Right.
But
now what about these stories of people putting up their homes and cars and all that? They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But it's collateral. It's collateral. So you got to remember, if someone's putting up thousands of dollars for you and they don't really know you, you have to kind of gauge the situation based on the details. So pretty much I'm like a profiler, where I have to sit up and come up with a quick decision based off of all of the details that I'm seeing. And if I'm feeling shaky about it, I might say, well, hey, look, my family can't be, at a deficit. My family can't, I can't have my company shut down. This is how we eat. So to make me feel better, I need collateral. I need you to sign. If anything goes wrong, you have assets. You have this home here that has equity in it that I can attach to, so to make me back whole. Because remember, that's what insurance is about, to make a person back whole. So I don't want to, I'm not in business to take losses. Now, I will say, as far as, these people that miss court, a lot of people, I found that they have worked with me. They have worked with me. I tell people, you don't have to just go start kicking in doors and whatnot. I actually talk to these people and ask them, like, well, what's going on? Like, there's got to be a solution. Like if I can straighten out, I got enough connections now. If I can go talk to the judge, if I can go talk to the bailiff and get you a rescheduled court date, will you just walk in? Like, let's just, you know, let's you don't want to, you don't want guns blazing and doors kicked in. And you know, public safety is important to me, you know, personally. So I don't want that, and neither does the defendant. So how about the happy medium is I'll make some phone calls on your behalf, see what I can do, and let's get this resolved. And believe it or not, I've got millions of dollars cleaned up by just doing that. A few years ago, a company actually hired me to do it. They were like, we don't know how you're getting these people to walk in the door, walk in the front door, you know. You know, they were like, but whatever you're doing, can we just pay you some money and you keep doing that for us? You know,
right.
So some people are just scared. They're just nervous. They don't know what to expect. The lawyers, remember, these lawyers are not telling them anything. So to have someone, disclaimer, I do not have a law license, but to have someone like break down the case, break down what you're seeing, is reassuring. It's reassuring where you're saying, you know what, I think I can walk in and you know, own it, take accountability, and get this over with. But if no one's talking to you and telling you, you know, what the process is and what you're seeing, you just might run.
Mm-hmm. You know? Right. So now, what if I wanted to start one tomorrow? I want to be this bail bonds person in Georgia, in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I go take my license. How long does it take to get the test?
The test usually is not that long. Most people can pass like within 30 days, they normally pass it. The hard part is the learning the business. There's an apprenticeship phase. So the apprenticeship phase is 6 months, and they do that purposely. It's with intention because this is a cash business where, you know, we're dealing with human lives here, you know, real people. So that you have to like study, you have to do an understudy with someone like myself for the next 6 months so that you can learn the business. So you can't just like say, hey, I just want to, Dana, I want to pay you a bunch of money and get into business right now. Like, I'm not even going to sign my name next to that, you know?
Right.
You know, so, because I want to make sure, like I said, public safety is real. You know, we want to make sure that people, you know, these families are being taken care of properly, and especially if I'm putting my name next to it. So a person would have to go through the whole process. They have to go through the 6 months, learn the business. They'd have to show some dedication, show me that this is what they really want to do before I start releasing contracts to people. Because if you're falling short, then I don't see why I should, you know, partner up with you in any kind of way. Because as we all know, family first.
Mm-hmm. What about danger? How dangerous is it? I mean, do you carry? Are you licensed to carry?
Yeah. Well, here we don't need a license anymore, but you know, yes, I do carry a gun, but surprisingly enough, I haven't really needed it much.
Wait a minute. In Cleveland, you don't have to have a license to carry a gun.
Yeah, right. Yep. They just Lewis, help me out here. What senator signed off on that?
I don't know the senator's name, but that's new. That just recently happened.
Yeah, it just recently happened. It just recently happened. Was it within the last year or something?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about that, Lewis?
Huh?
What do you think about that?
I think that's how it should be. You know, I'm pro guns. I'm pro. I don't think guns kill people. It's not being able to think through situations. You know, because you could be in a room full of guns with 100 other people. The only way somebody's gonna get shot is because of your thoughts, not because of the guns. So, you know, we educated the minds of the children. We built into them. They wouldn't be shooting each other. They would be able to have conflict. They would be able to have emotions, go through the process of thinking, and come out with a result other than shooting each other. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know, I never looked at it like that, but I'm thinking, man, I know in Georgia, if I don't know, I don't even know if that's the case. I don't think it's open carry here like that. But I can imagine if it was, and everybody just started carrying, wouldn't that be kind of, you know?
Well, think about it. It would make society so much safer. Imagine if you knew everybody in the bank, if you knew like 50% of people in the bank, the store, the gas station, all had guns. Who robbing that? Crime would drop dramatically. if you knew 50% of the houses probably got gun carriers in them, who breaking them houses? You think the neighbors might have a gun, might shoot you. People like easy. I keep telling them, crime is about opportunity, and people like easy. Criminals don't go look for hard stuff. That stuff you see on the movie, like the Italian Job and Ocean, that's not real. That's like outliers. You know, them famous cases that happen once and they usually embellish those. That's not real. People like old granny, no help, a cat. I'm gonna steal her pocketbook and run off with it. Like easy.
Yeah.
Maybe Granny had a gun. They ain't robbing Granny. Granny strapped.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So
will keep everybody
now,
honest.
Was that?
It will keep everybody honest. People will be more respectful because they're like, well, he got a gun. I don't want to say nothing disrespectful. I might not want to cut you off that way. I don't think it would make our society less safe. I think it would make us more safe. Yeah.
So Dana, what made you roll into the insurance industry?
Well, you know, when you're seeing what your families are going through, especially in the bail industry with the shooting, with the crime, you're paying attention. And I'm starting to see like these GoFundMes, things like that. And I kept thinking like, man, I need to maybe add another service to my business to let these people know like that there's there's another way to move out here. You know, make sure you take care of your family. And I just thought that would be a plus and a win. You know, maybe I could educate a couple families because, you know, that's just automatic. I've always had insurance, you know. I've always had life insurance. I mean, starting out at the post office, they automatically give you a policy when you get the job. So I've always seen it, but it was kind of surprising to me to know like, you know, the crime was a little bit higher. There were more deaths. And just seeing how many people were asking for cash apps and GoFundMe, I just thought like, wow, it's time for me to maybe be a little bit more proactive and be, you know, people were trusting my opinion. So it's just like, let me just add another service to my business. If I can help a family, then that would be great.
So you're talking about GoFundMe that people use for burials and things of that sort, not bond.
No, they don't use it for bonds. They're using a lot of it for whenever someone passes away. You're seeing on Facebook, you know, people are texting each other, so-and-so need money. But, you know, I'm constantly seeing on Facebook, taking donations. We're getting ready to bury so-and-so. And I was just thinking like, wow, you know, that shouldn't be a thing. There should be, you know, that's something I would think like as a family, we should be able to talk about it in-house and not have to rely on the charity of others, you know?
Okay. So is insurance something that you see yourself going into full time, or are you still going to just be doing that along with the bail bondsman, you know?
You know, it's still evolving. I'm not sure, you know, how far I can take it because the bail takes up so much of my time. So it's still just like running part-time in the background. I can be licensed in other states. I did pick up a license in Texas. I said, you know, I wanted to go to Texas and survey, you know, the area out there and see what opportunities were out there for me as far as life insurance and getting off into other markets. So it's not hard to get a license. So I'm thinking if I can get my business as far as bail set up exactly how I'd like it, you know, like bring up other people through the ranks that I've trained and let them have their own companies, then maybe I can transition over into something else, you know.
So Louis, you got any questions for? We've taken up an hour of time. I know we can maybe go a few more minutes.
I guess I would ask about, give us 3 books. Give us 3 books that if you were talking to a young lady that was 13 and she said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have no direction, but I know I want more. What would be 3 books that touched your life and shaped your thoughts that you would give?
Okay. I noticed that the young people now are really having problems with their coping skills. And, they're, what do you call it? Your emotional intelligence, where they don't know how to answer a person, clearly, oh, my feelings are hurt. They're getting in their feelings. They're ready to fight and tear everything up. So I'll say a simple book that I read on just how to keep things simple and enjoy your life was The 4 Agreements.
Okay.
That book, I'm so glad. I don't know what made me get that book, but I'm glad I got it. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements. So,
Okay.
That really just gave me another perspective. Like some of this stuff is so negative, you don't have to entertain that in life, and you can kind of shift your mindset, and that is so important. It'll transform your life. Just reading a little small, simple book like that. It's not even a big, thick book. And I'll say that what I would definitely give for a young person, someone that's a little bit more well-read, is a book that I haven't even completed yet because it's as thick as a dictionary. And it's a little bit more complex, but I really love the nuggets and jewels that was in it, and that's The Miracle Power of Your Mind. So
who's the author of that?
That's Joseph Murray.
Okay.
I haven't even finished that book, but it really helped me kind of shift my perspective as far as like how I think day to day. I like books on mindset because I like being calm. I like being positive, and when you're in a city with high crime and you're seeing things go wrong around you, and you're seeing people that are in despair, sometimes, it's not that hard to kind of like fall into a depression with them, but you don't want to do that. You want to be the person that can bring them out of that. So sometimes you got to, pour into yourself to make sure that you're still being that strong person to help another person. So I would say that reading some books like that every now and then help me keep my mind clear to understand, like, don't fall into depression just because you're seeing some depressing things happening around you,
Okay.
What the third one at? You didn't give us a third.
I don't know what the third one
is. You don't say the Bible.
I don't know what the third one is. I don't have one off the top of my head right now.
Ladies and gentlemen. Just gonna say Proverbs.
Listen, that Proverbs, you can't beat that Proverbs.
No, look, you know what? I'll say one. I will say that because I am a youth leader at church, and that's a new lane for me. And one verse that spoke to me, and I don't know the verse right now, but there's a couple. And definitely read the good book, read the Bible to kind of get some nuggets and jewels in there, But I read Isaiah, and I can't remember which one, Isaiah 43 or something. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I don't have the exact verse, but Isaiah talks a lot about redemption.
Mm-hmm.
For people that have gone through something and you just think like, oh, this is it for me. And the fact that God is saying, no, my child, you are mine. You can come out of this. That really motivated me and, really helped me, because God is saying, no, you are mine. You belong to me. So, the stuff that we are made of, God put it there. So you might fall, but there's a way back. And I would really say, if there's anyone that's been through some things, like you said, you've gone to jail, you've lost some loved ones, you've made some decisions that you aren't really proud of, I would say read on that. It's some really heavy hitters as far as redemption. Redemption is
You're saying Isaiah?
Yeah, the book of Isaiah.
Okay, all right.
All right,
cool.
That's 3. You got it.
Yeah, we good. Anything else you want to say before we let you go? Anything else you want to mention that we didn't mention? Did you want to say, how did you go from Islam to the Bible, or what? Or we can talk about something else. What other topic or what other subject or anything you want to say before we let you go that people need to hear?
I would say this. When you're growing up in the inner city or in the hood, you're gonna hear no a lot. I know I did, a lot of my friends did, and people I grew up heard no. And so we heard no so much that when you're in sales, all you want to hear is yes. All you want to hear is yes. Yes, I will buy your product. Yes, you can have it. Yes, I want to do business with you. But there's a lot of power in the word no. No helped change my life. Learning how to handle the word no helped me be a better mom, helped me be a better businesswoman, just helped me be a better person, because I took those no's and asked myself, okay, how can I be better? How can I be stronger? How can I be more successful? Because I'm hearing no today, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hear no tomorrow. So no helped me, know that I can't give up, so, don't, some people want to give up too early and too easy. And I've been in this business 20 years. Imagine if I would have gave up, just because a few people told me, no, I don't want to do business with you. So I would just say,
All right.
So I would just say, like, hey, just don't be discouraged out here. If you have a dream, a goal that you want to achieve, keep going for it. Don't be discouraged by the word no.
Okay. Well, Dana, thank you for your time. Lewis, thank you for recommending Dana Bond. That's going to be your name.
DanaBond.com.
Yeah, I trademarked that.
Like James Bond, you Dana Bond. Okay. All right. Well, again, anything you want to say, Lou? Or we're
I just appreciate you allowing us to use the platform. Thank you, Dana. Very impressed with you. You did a great job. And reach out to her, contact her. Bells Bonds. Right. I was thinking about it. She told me about it. I don't know if I got questions for her. Yeah. So
I want to say thank you, Tony. Thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure. I have fun with you guys.
Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to sign off today. And look, anybody who's make sure you subscribe to the show, ElitePsyche.com. Make sure you also go in the comment sections and leave comments or any questions that you might have that we can come back and answer. Because we want to, give you information that can help you. Go ahead.
Dan, tell them about you got a YouTube show and you got how to contact you on Facebook.
So I've been dabbling a little bit on YouTube, where I started interviewing people in the criminal justice system and just trying to give helpful tips. So this is brand new to me. I'm not a professional. I'm a straight amateur, but I figured it might be helpful for some people. And so I'm on YouTube as Dana Bonds.
There you go.
And then also you can find me on Facebook as Dana AC, or my business page is Dana Bell Bonds and Insurance. So you can @ me at Dana Bell Bonds and Insurance on Facebook or Instagram and find me there as well.
All right. Well, thank you. We're going to sign off. Appreciate it, Lou. See you later, Dana.
Peace.
Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.